Last year, the West Warwick High School football team found itself in an unusual position. It was almost a year ago, September 24th, 2021. And with his team up by a score of 20-12, quarterback Brady Miale took a knee and let the seconds tick away. It was the first win for the Orange and Black on the gridiron in 2 years, and the home crowd loved it. This year, the team has 6 regular season home games and has been moved down to Division III. Is this the year the wins stack up? Does this group, many of whom were forced to start as freshmen and take their lumps, end off this year with another football title for West Warwick? We'll talk about that and more with second-year head coach Wes Pennington on the Season 4 premiere of the Words with Wizards podcast.
This is the Words with Wizards podcast, your look at the world through the lens of West Warwick High School. It's where we talk to interesting people, visit cool places, and sometimes hit on a big story. And at the end of it all, you'll learn a little more about what's going on in the land of the Orange and Black. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And now, here's your host, a man who bought heavier silverware to burn more calories while eating, Mr. Eric White.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. This is the Words with Wizards podcast, and today is Tuesday, September 6th, 2022. And this is the Season 4 premiere of the show, also known as episode 24. Well, it's football time again, and that just might be good news for Wizard football fans. Last week, the team trounced Tollgate in its injury fund scrimmage at home, 31-0. Now, that was only one half of football, and it does not count in the standings. But is the result a sign of things to come? I sat down with Coach Pennington to talk about all things football, and a little bit about barbecue, too. Here's what he had to say. How do you think the move to Division III will impact your team's performance this year?
Yeah, I think it will impact us positively because I felt that the grouping that we have of the class, so our senior class, unfortunately, when they were freshmen, they were forced to play football, and they were playing the same teams year in, year out, and so in their minds, they weren't going to be able to overcome these teams. And we could see it last year where I felt that we were able to compete with those programs. But once something started to fall down or fall apart, they would just kind of fall apart because of the mentality of being beaten by these guys over the last few years.
Yeah.
So I think going into Division III and playing some different football teams, which we don't have those brain issues with, those mind issues with, it's going to definitely serve us well. Plus the fact that the energy this year is high. Last year we came in, and as a staff, we came in, I think, a week before the season started. Didn't really have an off season, and we had a shortened camp before we got to our first game. So it was a lot of things kind of working against us last year. But this year we've had a full off season. We've had a really good off season, and now we're coming in a lot more in sync. The staff as well as the boys coming out to play football. So I'm looking forward to really some good things happening this year. Excellent.
Last season, there was one point, you won 3 games last season overall, and last season the team, with that first game, you won for the first time. That group of kids won for the first time at the high school level in a long time. How did that feel, that game?
Yeah, that was special, and you could see their smiles, feeling like they got over a hump. They were able to win a football game in high school. So I was really happy to be a part of that moment with them, and, happy that we could do it. But I was hoping for more. But like I said earlier, facing some of those opponents that they've faced for the last 2 years prior to that, and really getting thumped by those teams, it's a big hurdle to overcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we were able to win 3 games, 3 more than we did the last 2 years prior to that. But hopefully this year it'll be definitely more than 3.
What are some lessons that your team took away? I mean, you had mentioned you had a week to prepare, which is basically like a cup of coffee in football time. I mean, getting a week. No team can prepare in a week. The Patriots cannot prepare in a week. No team. I don't care if it's Pop Warner or whatever can prepare in a week, but you guys were forced to do that. What lessons did you take away from last year, the staff and the players?
Yeah. So one of the things that we took away was that we had to learn how to compete. I think they kind of lost over the years the ability to know how to compete, to play, and no matter what's going on out there, and stick with it and play hard and actually compete in a football game. And that was one of the major things on the off season that I felt like we needed to address. And the way that we would address that as a staff is, by getting stronger, giving them opportunities to go to football camps, getting smarter, giving them opportunities to be faster so that their confidence level would rise. And then once we come into camp, actually even way before we even started coming into camp, we were doing 7-on-7 tournaments and different things like that, where we were competing with other schools and stuff like that. And my mantra was continually, hey guys, let's just compete. Win or loss or lose, right now that's not important. What's important right now is that we go out and we compete. No matter what happens out there, you stick together. No matter what's going on, we work through things in order to be competitive on the field.
And it's you're bringing back. You mentioned the seniors. You've got DeAndre Chase, Brady Miale, leading that senior class, and this is the year where you're in Division III. So it seems like the stars are aligning for you. Like if you're going to do something, if you're going to up the quality of football that you've been playing, and last year was a big step forward. I mean, I think that the fans can accept the result if they see the effort. Long history of football in West Warwick. You lost Medeiros last year, but that's really, as far as I can remember right now, the only significant starter that you graduated that you lost. And you've got Chase and Brady in. What are you expecting from them their senior year?
Yeah, so we have a really good senior class, actually. You mentioned Brady and DeAndre Chase, but we also have Sean Schultz and Jaden Prudent and Devin and Julian. We have a good group, a good core of players that have been playing together for a long time. So, I think with the off-season success we've had, and then coming into camp and this group of young men, as well as the coaching staff, has really kind of united together, which is going to absolutely bring us into a different place. I think that alone wins you a couple of games during the course of the season. Yeah. Not to mention the fact that, DeAndre's right now playing out of his mind. Brady is probably playing at the top of his game. Up front, we're big and strong, much stronger than we were last year. We have speed in the backfield. We have, receivers, and even though they're young, really talented receivers, and Carl Swanson and James Branch and Jesse Lavasia. Yeah. So we're going to be a multifaceted football team. Well, we're going to be able to run the ball, which is what we do, but we're also going to be able to throw the ball very effectively. So that's going to add an extra element to our game and for teams trying to prepare for us. Excellent.
And how about on defense? Who do you think your standouts on defense are going to be? I mean, a lot of you guys play both ways, obviously, at this level.
Yeah. So, it's going to be, so you still have Sean Schultz, who plays outside linebacker for us. DeAndre, who plays defensive end. We have a newcomer coming in this year, Josh Pettis, who I think is going to be a standout at the other defensive end. Last year, one of the issues we had was we had DeAndre, and he was kind of a bookend on one side, but the backside, we struggled keeping that side solid. But I think with Josh stepping into that role, it's really going to solidify our defensive line we have a linebacking crew who all run really well.
Yeah.
And then in the secondary, you got James Branch at corner, Kyle Swanson's playing safety, and you have Evan Schultz, who really stepped up this year. Is going to see a lot of time at that other side of the corner. And then Zachary Reyna is our strong safety. So this year, we're going to go a little bit different than what we did last year. I think last year, we ran more of a 4-4 concept.
Yeah.
This year, we're going to run more of a 4-3 concept with a true strong safety that's going to give us some ability to adjust to different formations and things a little bit better.
Fantastic. I ran into DeAndre Chase the other day, and he looks trim. So I guess that's an ode to your off-season conditioning program, because he didn't look like that at the end of last year. He looked really. I told him, I said, "You look great."
Yeah, well, I got to give it to DeAndre. I mean, DeAndre, he took it upon himself to really trim down and get in shape and get ready for the season, and it's seen on the field. I mean, he just stands out there, and we're lucky and blessed to have him. But what makes a good football team and what makes a good program is, you have those standouts, but you also have guys around them that can also play and can also contribute in order to make the team better and the program better. Yeah.
And this year, I want to talk about just a couple of more things in your division. You're in, let me see, I've got it up here. You've got Johnston, Moses, Brown, Mount Hope, Narragansett, Pilgrim, Pontiac, Rogers, and West Warwick. They listed them alphabetically here, so you're not at the bottom of the standings. Nobody's played a game yet. Who do you see? I think Narragansett won the whole thing last year in Division III. Yeah. Are they still a power? And if so, if not, who's your biggest competition in Division III?
Well, as we look at the division as its entirety, it's a really competitive division, because the other side's not really a slouch. Yeah. But on our side, it seems as though we got all the heavy hitters on our side, because you have Narragansett, who won it last year. You had Pilgrim, who won it a few years ago. Mm-hmm. You got Moses Brown, who's very competitive and a very good program. Yeah. Johnston, who went to the state championship a couple of years ago. Yeah. So we're gonna, week in and week out, we're gonna be playing good, solid competition, which is good. I mean, I don't know if there's a giant to slay. I think everyone's well-rounded, and they're all good football programs. So it's every week we're gonna have to come out and we're gonna have to play. And we're gonna have to play, up to a different level. Narragansett is definitely a team that we're gonna have to really prepare for. Pilgrim. Yeah. I mean, I hate. There's really no one to leave out.
Yeah, you have Charahoe on the other side, right? I think they played for Narragansett for the title last year. So
and Pontiac, who stepped up this year to D3, but they won a D4 state championship last year. Yeah. So I'm excited about it, because for me, it's good when you can play good, solid football week in and week out. It prepares your program. It makes you better to play good games every week.
Great. This year. Okay, I'm looking at your schedule. Last year, I think you had 4 home games. There was there 4 or 5 home games. This year was slated for 6, including Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is at West Warwick this year. And, we both know we're Cranston guys. You've played in it. I've watched it, the Cranston East, Cranston West every Thanksgiving. And then Stonington and Westerly, who've been playing since the beginning of time on Thanksgiving. What does it mean to you to have that game at home this year for the first time under your reign?
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, last year we went down there and we got thumped up pretty good. And I think again with our off-season workouts, I think the team is much better prepared this year to make that game a whole lot more competitive. And we're playing it at home. Like I said to the guys, you said earlier that the stars are kind of aligning, and if they work hard and really push themselves, the stars can align for them, because we actually got the injury fund game at home as well this year. Yes. So that ended up falling to our lap. And then they got 6 home games. So that's a lot of home games to play. And so if we just defend our home field and play really well here, that's going to put us into the playoffs, and then the sky's the limit from that point.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it seems the playoffs are well within your reach. You don't want to count your chickens before they hatch, and you got to go out there and play every week. But if you guys could be in the driver's seat if you take care of business at home and do your thing. Is there anything anything I forgot to ask? You think? I got one more question, and it's a food-based question for you.
I think the big test for us early in the year, when we have to travel to Narragansett, we have to travel to Pilgrim. 2 back-to-back road games early in the season. It's second and third football games of the year of the league. Yep. So we have Cranston West at home, then Pontiac at home, and then Pownell's the first league game, and Narragansett and Pilgrim are second, third league games, and they're both on the road at those places. And so those are going to be extremely hard games for us to win. So if we can come out of that ahead of it, you know what I mean, on our win-loss record, I think we'll be in good shape.
That's great. And again, you got Cranston West as a non-league. I think they're in 2 this year, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a pretty good tune-up. I think it helped you guys last year, and you had some flashes. Medeiros had a beautiful touchdown, and you didn't win that game, but I think that was a great way to get you ready for the rest of the Division II schedule.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, I see. You and I are Facebook friends. I see a lot of barbecue on your Facebook, and it's no secret if you look at me, I like to eat a little too much lately, but. And you can let me know if you want to keep this in or out, but I think you have a barbecue book, right? Is it a kind of is it about just barbecue or about religion and barbecue? You tell me.
Yes. So I have it's two books, really. 2 books. One is a cookbook called Through the Smoker, and it's all my recipes, my smoking recipes. And then the other one is a book that I wrote called Through the Smoker. And that is when I took the analogy of a brisket and how long it takes and all the steps it takes to prepare a brisket. And I kind of made that analogy to how God prepares a man in life. So the book itself is faith-based. The cookbook is just recipes. So.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, I might have to, where can you get this book? Where can people get this book? Is it on Amazon or can I?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Through the Smokers on Amazon. If you want a copy of the cookbook, I'll shoot you a link and you can download it.
That would be good, and we can put a link on our podcast page in case anybody else wants. I mean, you put some stuff on there. I think I gained 2 pounds just looking at the pictures that you put on your Facebook. And let me ask you one more thing, because the weather this year. Okay, I think you guys started. Did you start the week of that hottest week ever?
Yeah.
How are you dealing with that? Because I've been doing work outside. I'm old and out of shape, but I've been doing work outside, expanding my deck and whatnot. And it just reminded me that I'm old and I can't stay out there that long. How have you guys been dealing with the heat?
Yeah. So, I mean, just giving them a lot of breaks for water and encouraging them to hydrate at nighttime, because they're actually literally, burning off what they did the day before. So, telling them to take care of their bodies and, making sure they eat well, they rest, get the right amount of rest and the right amount of fluids in their bodies before they come on the field. And then giving them, a lot of water breaks. Last week, we were giving them breaks every 5 or 10 minutes. We were giving them water breaks just so that they can stay hydrated, because the worst thing you can have is somebody get dehydrated and, get a heat injury.
Yeah.
So that was last week. And then this week, we came into, I don't know if it was monsoon season or something. It just kind of rained on us for 2 days straight. So,
yeah, it was bad. My wife and I went out to a family reunion in Wisconsin, but we flew into St. Paul, and I'd never been to Minnesota, and they had a huge thunderstorm out there. And then we got back here and we had that huge rainfall that clogged up 195. And did you guys go inside that day? Were you practicing that day?
We were outside.
Wow. Of course you were outside.
Yeah, we play in that stuff. You know what I mean? I tell the guys, hey, listen, let's take this as an hop in the rain, because if it's raining on game day, we're going to play. So if we never play in it, practice in it, how are we going to expect to be successful if we happen to get a game that when it's raining out? So we just take advantage of that, and we learn how to practice in wet conditions.
This has been a presentation of the Media Broadcasting and Journalism Pathway at West Warwick High School. If you're a student interested in learning more about radio, TV, and journalism, then you can get in touch with me, Mr. White, at ewhite@ww-ps.com. More information about The Pathway is also below on the YouTube version of this show. You can also listen to the Words with Wizards podcast on Spotify and Google. The Pathway and shows like this are not possible without sponsor support. Part of being a sponsor is that you and your business can get exposure on this and other Pathway broadcasts. Funding goes toward the purchase of new equipment, student scholarships, and professional development. You can find more information on sponsorships, which are tax deductible, at the bottom of the YouTube version of this podcast. Speaking of sponsorships, a big thank you to the West Warwick Teachers Alliance, which has been a great and supportive sponsor throughout this entire year. Thank you very much for your support. Representing West Warwick teachers in unity. Have an idea for the show? Visit the Words with Wizards webpage at wwhstv.com. There's a form on the page that you can fill out to let me know about your ideas for the show. And that's it for me today. We'll see you back here soon, I promise. Until then, stay safe and stay informed.